Arrest that man. Arrest him. I got it all on video.
So as you know, we've done 2 videos on entitled moms exposed, and I saw a few comments from you guys mentioning that it'd be nice to see the other side of things, entitled dads. Although we've yet to come to an agreement of the best entitled dad name, I personally really like the names Bob or Kevin, but it's not up to me to decide. Either way, we listen to the people, so here we are with the list of the top 10 entitled dads that went too far and got exposed. What's going down, you spicy son of a guns? I'm your host, Jared Bronstein, and welcome back to I.O. Be sure to follow us all on Instagram to stay up to date with all the hottest tea, and stick around until the end of this one for some bonus content. Check out Top 10 Central if you guys are feeling down and want to laugh. It's a channel that I am hosting with some other incredible hosts that you guys don't want to miss out on, which is why I'm not on here too much anymore, but hey, come back every now and then because I love you guys. Spoiler alert, there are a lot of dads on here getting mad at their son's coach, so let's kick it off. Kicking off our list at number 10, the entitled hockey dad. There's something about hockey dads that make me laugh because they're just always ready to fight. In the case of Reddit user Woven Song Story, well, I'm not wrong with what I just said. So our friend here works at a hotel centrally located which has an indoor water park attached, so it's a hot spot for kids and parents to stay when they're traveling for sports tournaments. Previous incidents led to the hotel implementing a policy with the leagues of hockey teams to ensure that parents checking in with their kids will sign a waiver which states they won't bring their underage kids into the bar, they won't leave their children unattended after 10 p.m., and they would either leave their hockey sticks in the car or with the front desk because they weren't allowed to keep them in the guest's room. Any parent who broke the policy would essentially get their kid kicked off the tournament. Of course, the parents weren't happy with this, but eventually they signed the waiver. However, the night they checked in, some of the hockey dads were at a bar heavily drinking, of course, leaving their kids unattended, and went as far as trying to sneak in their hockey sticks. Upon security reminding them of the policy and refusing to allow them upstairs with their sticks, the dads got aggressive, with some even taunting security to fight them. In between them cussing him out, Don, the security guard, remained calm and simply asked which dad would like to ruin the tournament for their son. That got these dads to back off, yet the next morning a group of them still tried to complain to the front desk supervisor who wrote this story on Reddit. They told her that Don, the security guard, assaulted them, but our friend here explained Don told her what really happened. The dad tried to pin it on the supervisor, asking if she's calling him a liar, but after the supervisor explained she reviewed the security footage, the dad knew he was caught in a lie. Gotta love sports dads. In at number 9, a story from LaPorschia Brown of Georgia. While speaking to Channel 2 Action News, Brown told them about an incident that went down between a few parents and coaches of a youth football team. It's unclear how things started, but Brown got a call from one of the team's coaches, informing her she needed to pick up her son due to the fact that all the games had been cancelled. By the time Brown arrived, there were already police on site, and a video showed a group of adults yelling and shoving each other while a handful of kids looked on. No one was arrested as police couldn't determine who started it all, but I'll assume it was a dad who felt his kid should be the starting quarterback. That's usually how these fights start. And at number 8, a story from Reddit user Cemetables. We'll name the storyteller Jenny for the sake of following along. Jenny purchased a few anime comics at Barnes & Noble, and while waiting for the rest of her family to buy what they wanted, decided to sit and wait in the attached Starbucks. While in line, a 4 or 5-year-old child tugged Jenny's sweater, intrigued by what she thought was a coloring book under her arm. Knowing that the comics included nudity, Jenny refused to show the child her comics. The child went over to her dad, who then approached Jenny, who is now sitting, enjoying her beverage and reading a comic. Upon the dad asking if his daughter can see the book, Jenny explained it contains explicit content and isn't appropriate for such a young child. After a small argument ensued of them going back and forth, the dad actually grabbed one of the comics off the table, flipped through it and didn't see any nudity, so he handed it to his young daughter. Of course, when the daughter saw things she didn't even know existed, the father got upset with Jenny. He started screaming at her, claiming Jenny had exposed his daughter to inappropriate things. When a Starbucks employee came over, the dad tried to pin it on Jenny and get her kicked out. Jenny explained her side of the story, and in the end, the employee kicked out the father and daughter, while the daughter was still kicking and screaming to get the coloring book. And at number 7, a dad and his YouTube famous son. Reddit user Boopity Schmooples described what went down at a convention, which ended with the father and YouTube famous son being kicked out. So the story here is our friend, who we'll call Ethan, works for AAA gaming company. They had a booth at this convention where people could play 10 minutes of an unreleased game, but the catch was the wait in line was about 4 hours. People were excited to play, and the only way to skip the line is to have a press pass and to have previously spoken with the company or worked for a well-known company such as IGN. With a break in the line, this dad and his son tried to sneak in, but other people waiting were quick to bring it to Ethan's attention. Ethan walked over and told him to get to the back of the line, but the dad explained his son is a YouTuber. Ethan looked at a press pass which literally read YouTuber. YouTuber. It's important to mention people try to fake press passes all the time. This is exactly what was happening, and Ethan wasn't falling for it. Upon telling the dad and his son to get to the back of the line, the dad claims he's good friends with the company CEO and can get Ethan fired. Ethan called his bluff, and upon the dad faking a phone call and telling Ethan the CEO didn't answer, the dad then asked for Ethan's manager. A co-worker posing as the manager listened to the dad's plea and laughed both in his and his son's face, telling them to get to the back of the line before security kicks them out. As the father and son left, they filmed Ethan and his co-worker and said, I quote, "Good luck ever working in this industry again after we make a video about how terribly we were treated here," end quote. After 3 years, Ethan still has his job with the company, and it turned out the kid had about 500 subscribers on YouTube. I got more, so guess I'm famous. Now at 6, the North Dakota Brawl. Alright, it wasn't a brawl, but the story here is a team from Winnipeg traveled to North Dakota for a hockey tournament. Keep in mind, this is a tournament for children ages 7 and 8 years old, so they're literally not even humans yet. I'm kidding, but you get my point. They're kids. But it adds to how ridiculous it is that a parent and coaches got into a physical altercation over a hockey game involving 7 and 8 year olds. Apparently the story here is one of the mothers from a team was livid about a call on the ice, and after the game followed the other team's coaches into their locker room. After refusing to leave, one of the coaches pushed the woman's shoulder, which led to the woman's husband throwing a punch at the coach. The coaches got involved, and the husband ended up with a bloody lip and black eye. No charges were laid, but the team with the aggressive parents were kicked out of the tournament, so I kind of feel bad for their child. Moving on to number 5, a story from Reddit user How to Be a Popsicle. Our user is much older now, but remember the story of how she lost her vision in one eye at 3 years old thanks to an entitled father and son. We'll call our 3-year-old friend Sarah. Sarah went to the park with her dad and was carrying her new purse, which had some change in it. As she played at the park, a 10-year-old boy approached her asking for the money. After Sarah explained it's her purse and showed it to him, the 10-year-old took it and ran, like a full-on snatch and grab. Upon Sarah explaining to her father what happened, both he and Sarah walked over to the 10-year-old, who was now with his father. Sarah's dad explained to the 10-year-old boy's dad what happened, and after Sarah asked for her purse back nicely, they both laughed in their face. When the entitled dad asked Sarah, a 3-year-old at the time, if she meant the purse now in his hands, she replied yes, and he threw it over their heads, telling them to fetch. As 3-year-old Sarah went over to get her purse, the 10-year-old boy then pressed her head into the gravel. By the time Sarah's dad pulled the boy off of her, she was badly injured, and when paramedics and police arrived, Sarah was immediately looked at while her father spoke with police. The father of the 10-year-old tried to claim it was an accident, but after Sarah's father explained that the father of the 10-year-old quite literally told his son to sick him, and the boy growled before running over to Sarah, the 10-year-old's dad didn't deny anything. So this child is apparently a dog as well. In the end, unfortunately, one of Sarah's eyes was so badly damaged they couldn't repair her vision, and her dad did press charges. The 10-year-old's father got arrested, and they settled out of court, agreeing to pay medical fees as well as a little extra. And at number 4, the Baseball Brawl. You guys might have heard about this incident that took place in Lakewood, Colorado, considering how the video of these parents fighting went viral. It was about 11:50 a.m. when all the 7-year-olds scrambled off the field due to their parents charging the diamond and throwing fists. It all started when the parents of these 7-year-olds were getting mad at the 13-year-old umpire. That's right. Grown adults getting mad at a 13-year-old who was calling the shots at a 7-year-old's baseball game. The 13-year-old gave warnings to parents on both teams for their use of foul language, but when someone in the stands complained that people weren't getting ejected, apparently all hell broke loose. It seems the fighting started off the field and eventually a brawl ensued, making its way right over home base. In total, the Lakewood Police Department cited 11 adults as well as a 16-year-old for their involvement in the fight, and both of their teams had the rest of their games cancelled that season. Moving on to number 3, a story from Reddit user Nebulandian Noodles. This one is short and sweet, yet makes absolutely no sense. The story took place about 11 years ago at the time of this recording and goes as follows. Noodles here was hanging out with his friend at their cottage, which is on a big field that is shared with other nearby neighbors, when 2 kids seemingly creeped up behind them, somewhat scaring them. Appearing to be a brother and sister, the girl was crying for reasons unknown, and when Noodles looked to his mom, she noticed a man talking to her then walking away. So here's what happened. A neighbor left his 2 kids with Noodles' family so he could text his wife, I quote, in peace and quiet. It's important to mention, Noodles hadn't met these neighbors before, so they were strangers. Before Noodles' mother could say anything, the father had already left. And he didn't give them his name, where he lives, a contact number, nothing. After dealing with these random kids for a few hours, they finally got it out of them where they live. When Noodles took the children to their home, which was across the field and over a pond, the father saw them and was furious. As they walked over to the house, the little girl actually fell into some mud and started crying. Instead of helping his own daughter, this father runs inside to grab a camera and starts filming and laughing. Noodles, being a good person, decided to help the little girl. A complete stranger his family was tasked with babysitting along with her brother. The next day this dad tried to pawn off his kids again, but Noodles saw him coming, ran inside and locked the door and shut the lights so they wouldn't have to deal with him. The father went as far as looking into the windows to see if anyone was home before leaving. Number 2, no surprise, more dads fighting coaches. Once again, it's unclear what went down here or how the fight started, but one thing is certain, there is photo evidence of a coach and dad fighting each other on one of the team's benches. During a tie-breaking game of a AAA series between the Waterloo Wolves and Elgin Middlesex Chiefs, these two guys just started going at it. When asked about the incident, police said no charges were laid, but an investigation was underway. The parent involved in the fight did get banned from the specific rink in Waterloo for his participation in the fight, but it seems no one was arrested or charged regarding the incident. Now these kids are a bit older, say maybe 14 or 15, which doesn't make it okay by any means, but at least they're not 7 or 8 years old. I guess it just doesn't make a difference at all, it's still just a hockey game. The top spot, number 1, Lance Faucheux. This 46-year-old man was arrested and charged with battery of a school teacher or an athletic official. Story here is Lance pulled aside his son's football coach for a quick chat. And to no surprise, we're once again talking about a league for 7 and 8-year-old kids. Either way, Lance told the son's coach that he was, I quote, disgusted with his son's playing time, end quote, and apparently the coach wasn't too pleased with their conversation. One thing led to another, things got heated, and Lance eventually ended up punching his son's coach right in the kisser. Other coaches stepped in to separate the two, although Lance apparently tried to keep fighting. Lance and his son went home, but a deputy arrived to arrest the angry 46-year-old. I'm sure his son was more upset about his dad going to jail than his playing time. And there you guys have it for the top 10 entitled dads that went too far and got exposed. Let us know if you want a part 2 in the comments down below. For now, we gotta reply to some comments and we'll follow that up with some bloopers. In the video top 10 entitled moms who went too far and got exposed part 2, Fatima Hamid said, some of these mothers are clearly mentally unstable. I shudder to think of the damages they are causing their kids as a result of their derangement. Yes. It's terrible, it is sad, and some of them just should not have children, but hopefully the kids will grow up to be self-aware enough that they don't emulate the behavior of their parents. Cassie Nielsen said, to be honest, would love to see a video of entitled dads. Haven't heard any stories of them. Most of the time I hear stories of them only listening to their wives or just not caring. Thanks for the video, Pepper Baron, since Charlotte is a queen and Johnny is a lord. Well, Cassie, this video was actually somewhat inspired by you, so thank you for your comment, and I wanted to give you credit and shout you out in this video. Of course, we had it on the back burner because obviously we're gonna do dads if moms does well, which it did, but still, we appreciate your input and, you know, shout out to Cassie. Mayor Chambo said, hi Jared, I just wanted to say, you nice, keep going, bet you won't see this. I saw it, thank you. I try to be nice. Depends who you ask though. Like Chris would say I'm nice, Josh probably say I'm an asshole. What can you do? Facts, fam. It's just speaking facts. Anyways guys, gonna wrap this one up. I've been your host, Jared Bronstein. Like I said, come check out our channel Top 10 Central if you're feeling down and need a laugh. Come check us out because it's funny. You got your boy, Pepper, making it all spicy. Alright, I'll stop being so cringy, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm Jared Bronstein. Deuces. Like centrally located? Is that a word, centrally? Yeah.
I feel like that's right.
It's centrally located in the place. Centrally. It's a word. It just sounds weird. It's like literally every possible thing that could stop me. It's something, man. Like, they just don't want this video out there. They don't want the dads getting exposed. It's usually how these starts fight, right? Did I just say starts fight? Yeah. Sick. That's usually how these fights. I said it so confidently. I was like, I looked at you. You said it. I took a second and I was like, I looked at you and I was like, you're like, yeah. Reddit user Boopity Schmooples described that. It's a funny name.